We already brought you the Aerodyne Telecaster. Today we're taking a look at Fender's new made in Japan Aerodyne Stratocaster HSS. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name's Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. And Cooper's back. Cooper's back.
Yeah.
From his honeymoon.
Still jet lagged a little bit.
Married man now. So you'll never get better than you are now at guitar.
That's
never going to
depressing.
Happen. No, I'm just kidding. So glad to have you back.
Thank you.
We've got some great videos, so make sure you tune in. If you're not already subscribed, you subscribe. And we'll probably talk about your great trip on our podcast, at some point. So make sure you check that out. But we've got a cool guitar to welcome you back with. And this is one we've been waiting on. This is the Made in Japan Aerodyne Stratocaster HSS. We'd already looked at the Telecaster version of this that I absolutely swooned for. Just really cool guitar. And everyone in the store that's seen this, first thing out of the box, I handed it to David Keckler, one of our guys, and he was like, "This is a really cool Strat." So high praise indeed.
Yeah, it's cool.
What are you thinking?
I mean, so I like the Aerodyne stuff, and we talked about the tele. I've liked the basses for a long time. I think the Strat was the one that I was most interested to see, like, is this going to be cool or not? Because the tele, obviously, I mean, I love that dolphin gray. To me, I'm a type of guy that I want a pick guard on a Strat, and so I was kind of wondering how it'd feel and look in person. And I think it's cool. It's definitely got an aesthetic of its own, but it's very comfortable, just like the other ones that we've played. And I want to see the other colors. This is the Hot Rod Burst.
Hot Rod Burst, yeah.
And I know they do the Dolphin Gray in this finish. I know they got California Blue.
They've got the California Blue. They've got, what's the other burst?
Chocolate Burst.
Chocolate Burst.
There's a white.
Yes. But it varies depending, and I don't remember specifically. I think the blue one is on the 3 single coil one. The Chocolate Burst is. I think the Dolphin Gray is on the HSS, if I recall. Yeah. But you can check our website at alamomusic.com to see which colors come with which models.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is the first Strat that we've gotten. We've got all of them, all those colors, all the other models on order, but these technically came out before the AV2s.
Isn't that crazy?
And we're still waiting on pretty much the bulk of the order, which I guess part of that probably comes from the fact that they're imported from Japan. But I feel like these, like I said on the tele, the Aerodynes have kind of flown under the radar because the AV2 is the big old launch. Yeah. But these are completely different type of player that are, is being catered to. And I think they're cool. I'm excited to see the other models and stuff. But
they're definitely a different type of Strat. So and I think that is apparent in the specs that we've got. So starting from like the neck down, right? You've got a beautiful satin finish neck with locking tuners. I love these locking tuners. I have these same locking tuners on my Select Strat, I think. Yeah. So here's something that's often not talked about. Let me grab that real quick. So if you take a look at one of these tuners, and Fender's done this for a bit, but I think it's a really cool feature that's so subtle that it was at one time advertised and isn't so much anymore. But these are staggered tuning posts, okay? So your bass string has a taller post than your low E string. So what's happening is it's creating a greater breakover angle at the nut as you go down from low E to high E. Okay, so that's helping with this, along with the string tree that's on here. And then you've got locking tuners. So when you're changing strings, all you do is pull it taut and lock it down, and that's it. Yeah. It's a funny story, actually. While you were gone, I was restringing a guitar on the floor. Yeah. And I didn't leave enough slack initially because I'm so used to all of my guitars have locking tuners. Yeah. I just pulled it taut, and then I was like, why does that look so weird? I don't have enough wraps. Oh yeah, these aren't locking tuners. Yeah. So very cool, and of course a painted headstock, which would look out of place on a lot of Strats, but is at home here. Yeah. Satin finished fingerboard with a 12-inch radius on the frets. Yeah. So it's a faster playing, lower action Strat that's more in line with what you typically see from like Ibanez than what you would typically see from Fender. Okay, I think that goes through the rest of the body, very sleek, bound top, which is very cool. It's got this nice kind of arch to it, rather than having kind of the flat top like a typical Strat with the bevels and whatnot. You do have the tummy cut though,
Yeah.
which is really nice. Now that you're married, you'll find out what a tummy cut's all about. And then of course, like you said, there's no pick guard. You've got the surface mounted pickups, humbucker, 2 single coils, this 5-way selector. There's no push-pull pots. It's a pretty straightaway setup.
Yeah.
So you've got humbucker, second position is 1 coil from the humbucker and then the middle coil. You've got middle neck, and then of course neck. Great sounding stuff. And then my favorite.
The bridge.
The bridge is, we talked about this on the tele. This of course is a vibrato or tremolo bridge, but it has this same very cool rounded saddle and cam feature. I was talking to Casey Jones, our preeminent guitar tech here at Alamo Music, and we were talking about how cool this is. So you can see Cooper, right?
Yeah.
If you look from the bottom, you can see the way this cam system works. So you basically have this cam that acts as both the height adjustment, but it has a built-in string ramp so that your string isn't coming over just some sharp point. It's actually ramping up in this real nice smooth motion. And as you adjust the set screw, that cam turns in there, on this axis rather than just gets higher and lower. And then it's super comfortable.
Yeah, the bridge, the radius, the carved top, and I mean the arched kind of top, it's makes a very, very comfortable guitar. I really liked the HM Strats they did a couple years ago. They didn't seem to be extremely popular, like they were very specific. I love the Ultra Luxes, but all of those have all this extra stuff with switching or Floyd Rose, whatever.
Yeah.
This is like a very stripped down guitar, but has all the comfort and the speed and everything of kind of more of the super Strat kind of vibe.
Well, so what this reminds me of a lot is, and I don't know if you ever saw these because you're a lot younger than I am, but in the late 90s and in the early aughts, Fender had these Strats that were called Showmasters. And they had a very similar setup, but with like a flamed or quilted top and these top-loaded pickups. It's very, very similar guitar, but they were US made, they were very expensive. And it's one of those things where it didn't catch on. And here's this, I've talked about this before, you know this, companies get pigeonholed. I feel like, or I fear that sometimes people look at this and go, well, that's not my grandfather's Strat, and so I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And the danger of that is Fender will make a really cool product that sometimes gets passed over. A great example is the Machete amp.
Man,
Did you ever get a chance to play one of those?
That was a cool amp.
So I ordered one. I let someone else here have it because he wanted an amp and I had gotten another amp. But that was like the greatest amp no one ever bought.
Yeah.
Because it was a high gain amp and Fender's not known for making high gain amps. So they made this incredible amp and it just didn't sell.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
it kind of goes for the bass breaker stuff too.
Yes.
Like those were never super popular. It sounded great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this guitar, the Aerodyne stuff, but especially the Strat and all that, it's old school, sort of Japanese style, but it also, there's a lot of these neo-soul kind of tappy, very smooth. These are really clean, pretty pickups. So I feel like it does cater to a specific kind of player now that's doing kind of legato stuff and some tapping, and it's really cool.
All right, so pause Polyphia for a second on that remark and take a listen to Cooper as he puts it through its paces.
I'm not going to tap. All right, I'm not tapping, but.
So there you have it, the demo and review of Fender's Aerodyne Stratocaster HSS. We're still waiting for the 3 single coil version to come in, but I loved the tele. I really like this. I'm sure I'm going to like the single coil version. They're really cool guitars.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see with this line?
I would like to see a couple things. One, black. It's just it's a guitar that's made for black. We have the jazz bass, awesome bass, and a lot of people here play the older, the first run of the Aerodynes on bass with the black finish and everything. It just feels right to me.
Yeah.
I want them to put black on all the guitars and basses. But I would like to see Fender, that, like you said, brands get pigeonholed a little bit. I want to see them use the Aerodynes with players that are these guitars are made for. Because the American Vintage 2, all the vintage style stuff, the classic country tele stuff and surfy Jazzmaster and the rock and roll Strat, it's easy to market because everybody thinks about that and loves it. But find some of these younger players and get the Aerodynes in their hands because they're cool guitars that I think would inspire new players in a different way than the real vintage stuff.
That's a very good call. And, Fender has a really healthy artist relation department. Mm-hmm. I think that they should be doing that. And really, I hope that my hope for this line is that it finds its way into people's hands, that people discover how great these really are and give them a chance, even though they're different from what a lot of what Fender does. And I really want Fender to continue returning to some stuff that I saw them do in the past. Like, that same period when they did the Showmasters, they did Robin Ford's Esprit guitar, which is this insane set neck, humbucking, like Fender Gibson-y vibes. Very, very cool guitar. They've made some really cool stuff in the past. They're making great stuff that's really in their wheelhouse, but I want them to expand even more so. So I love this for that reason. I love made in Japan stuff.
Yeah.
And this is just a really cool guitar. I'd probably go with, I was thinking the other day how cool black hardware on something like this would look depending upon the color.
Black knurled knobs would be really cool on this too.
Yeah, like a black nickel with knurl.
But it is kind of, it can be a guitar that's ripe for customization too.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are into some heavier stuff, kick up the pickups a little bit. I mean, they're nice because, we did a little clean and just a little amp dirt, but this could be made into like a real high gain machine.
Well, and these are the type of pickups that I tend to find really work well in that situation.
Yeah. If
you have very sparkly style pickups, it handles gain very, very, very well. Yeah. It's the old Eddie Van Halen thing, right? That's why his guitar, like early on, single coils, you know, and really worked to dial in the humbuckers he later used. So you had a really nice, clean sound before you just made it go to infinity. So very, very cool guitar. So if they wanted more information about this Cooper, now that you're back, let's see if you remember, where should they go?
I'm trying to remember, but I think it's alamomusic.com, and stay, up to date with it because we'll be getting all the other finishes in. We'll be getting the SSS, and, for the bass heads out there, we'll be getting more basses as well.
So you can shop what's in stock. You can also pre-order stuff online or by calling or chatting with someone there. And if there's a particular color that you want that we're out of, we can order that for you as well. So head over to alamomusic.com and Make sure you get your Aerodyne. I always say at the end of the day, the best guitar in the world is, the Aerodyne Stratocaster that you're playing, or Telecaster, as it may be.
Yeah.
But if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, and keep coming back for more. We'll see you next time.